Hello, and welcome to the MMA Mic Drop podcast. My name is Jade Bunky, and I'm joined by the one and only MMA Milo, who is not only an emerging MMA analyst, but also one of the nation's top up-and-coming youth surfers. In today's episode, we are going to break down everything that's about to go down at UFC Freedom 250. This is the big one. It features some of the sport's biggest stars, but more importantly, it's the matchups. In the main event, you have Ilia Topuria, who is not only a one-division champ, he is a two-division champ and arguably the pound-for-pound best fighter in the world. In addition, the co-main event features Alex Pereira, who is attempting to become the sport's first three-division champ. Milo, this fight card is absolutely insane. It is a once-in-a-lifetime fight card. It goes down at the White House on the South Lawn. Give me your thoughts.
I'm super stoked on it. It's probably the greatest. These are some of the greatest fights of all time, and like some highly anticipated matches that people have been wanting to see. They're all on here, so I think it'll be really good. I think I'm gonna give it an A+.
A plus. Yeah, I mean it's absolutely incredible. What three fights? If you can rank the top three fights in which you're most interested, what would they be?
I would say Alex Pereira versus Ciryl Gane, number one. And then I would go Josh Hokit versus Derrick Lewis, and then
Oh,
Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje.
yeah, I mean all exciting fights. I would rank. I'm with you with the Ciryl Gane versus Alex Pereira. How well will he do at heavyweight? That is the question. I'm excited about that. For me, number two would be Steve Garcia versus Diego Lopes, simply because it's a competitive fight. And that's the only critique I do have on this fight. You have a couple of the fights where the lines are really wide. I do understand with Justin Gaethje as the interim champ, you do got to match him up with Ilia Topuria. But I mean, Sean O'Malley versus Aiemann Zahabi or Mauricio Ruffy versus Michael Chandler, not as interesting due to the lines. And if I am going to pick a third fight, let me think, because those are the ones where it's really close. I guess I do have to take one of the ones where the line is really wide. And it probably would be the Mauricio Ruffy, just because I think he is such a unique talent. And, I would like to see one of the best fighters in the world. Although I wish it would be a more competitive matchup. Yeah, I would give it an A, not the A plus for those reasons, but super excited. Is there anything that you're curious about? Whether it's seeing the stage setup, how this is going to look on the when everything happens, or any other thoughts or concerns before we get into the individual fighter breakdowns.
I thought it was pretty interesting that like they're gonna be like outside, so there's gonna be like bugs and stuff, and like I saw Dana White was talking about how like he's gonna have to get like he's trying to figure out that problem. Like, what if a bug flies in the middle of them and like distracts him and he's getting knocked out? So it's like, yeah, I think it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's got to be super annoying. And and one of the things when people were talking about, hey, it's at the White House due to security reasons, you're only going to have a handful of fights. No, it's probably because it's outdoors and weather's unpredictable, and you don't want to be out there all night, all day. I mean, it does look like it could present some problems like that bug issue. But all right, let's get into it. All right, the main event: Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. Ilia Topuria, he is 17-0. Justin Gaethje, let me just click over here really quick. I should have been a little more prepared, but that is not my nature. Oops, what is his record? I believe it's
He's
25
27 and
and
5. It's 27 and 5.
27. Wow, there you go. The teenager is more prepared than me.
Yep.
There you go. He is 27-5. Topuria, he is a minus 600 favorite. Gaethje, he is a plus 440 underdog. Milo, why don't you break down this fight for me? Tell me who you like and what do you think is going to happen?
I think that Justin Gaethje, he's really hard hitter. They're both like the two hardest hitters in that division, arguably. But Ilia Topuria has much better boxing, and even like up close range where that's Justin's strong suit. I think Ilia is better at that. So Ilia has every edge over him, but Justin hits hard. Anything can happen, but I'm gonna go Ilia Topuria by first round knockout.
Yeah, it is interesting because both guys have, exceptional power. I mean, look, we saw what what Ilia has done over his last handful of fights. I mean, we saw what he did to Max Holloway, first person to ever knock him out. But before that, it was Alexander Volkanovski, and he's also coming out off a knockout, win of Charles Oliveira. And those aren't just three guys. Those aren't just three good guys. Those are three of the greatest fighters of all time. Alexander Volkanovski is the best featherweight of all time. Max Holloway is the second best featherweight of all time. Charles Oliveira is an absolute legend. So it's what he's doing and to whom he's doing what is so impressive. And he seems to be getting better. He's only 29 years old. And I think this is one of the problems. Justin Gaethje is 37 years old. Yes, you're right. Ilia Topuria does have cleaner boxing. He does have faster hands. And I think it's going to be on full display against an older fighter. Justin Gaethje is coming off a win, but it was a sloppy win. I did not think he looked that good against Paddy Pimblett. He is going to be a lot bigger, though. He's going to have a size advantage. His power is going to be there. It will be dangerous, as this fight continues. At every moment of this fight, either guy can put the other guy out. But when I look at, the finishing potential, I mean, Topuria has an 88.2% finishing rate. That's insane for a featherweight who is now a lightweight. And remember, he is undefeated. Nobody has beat this guy. And he's fighting the best of the best, and he has yet to lose. Justin Gaethje, though, I mean, he has a 77.8% finish rate. He is the highlight. I mean, he has, I believe it's like 15 post-fight awards. So it's MMA. Anything can happen. The stakes are going to be massive, but I'm with you. I think it's going to be Ilia Topuria. I think he's going to knock him out. I think he's too clean, too fast, too good. And Ilia Topuria by first round knockout. And what round did you say Topuria is going to get him?
First round.
First round. Okay, so we're both aligned there. Yeah. All right, the co-main event, and this is probably the most anticipated fight on the entire card for fans around the world. It's not probably just ours. I mean, a lot of people are excited about that because you have one of the most fascinating fighters in UFC history, Alex Pereira. I mean, he is, he was the middleweight champ. He moved up to, light heavyweight. He was the light heavyweight champ, and now he's trying to go up to heavyweight. This is insane, and this is the first time he's going to be at a significant size disadvantage, even with that extra weight. Pereira, he is 13-3. Ciryl Gane, he is 13-2. It's a close fight, and this is why I like it. Pereira is the slight favorite. He's at minus 118. Ciryl Gane is minus 102. Milo, break this fight down for me.
Alex Pereira, probably it's like the second hardest hitter in the entire world. And Ciryl Gane has really good kickboxing. He's good at getting out of the way. He doesn't really like to stand and trade. But I think it's going to be a really close fight, and I think I'm going to go Alex Pereira by decision.
Decision, wow. So you got one of the biggest power punchers in the world, but you still think it's going to go by it's still going to make it to the final round. Why do you think that?
I feel like Ciryl Gane fights he's always backing up. He's doing his combination, then retreating, and then just kind of does the same thing the entire fight. And I don't think he's going to utilize his wrestling because, Pereira went against Jan Blachowicz, and he couldn't really do much to him on the ground. So I don't think Ciryl Gane will be able to do anything either. So that's why.
That's interesting, and I totally agree with you. You're spot on. And when you look at how Ciryl Gane fights, I mean, he's real light on his feet. He likes to bounce around. He likes to step in and out. He does not like to get hit. And at heavyweight against other heavyweights, it works. I mean, his only two losses are Francis Ngannou and against whom was his other loss? I'm drawing a blank right now, but John Jones. And Pereira's not going to present that wrestling attack that John Jones did. It is going to be interesting because he's so light on his feet. He is so quick. The question is he quick for a heavyweight or is he just quick overall? Because Alex Pereira is moving up. Now it's going to be two divisions. He is naturally the quicker fighter. Now, the problem is he's getting old. He's 38 years old, and his power is so significant it can neutralize anybody or any speed disadvantage that he might be at. But, I'm wondering, is Alex Pereira going to make Ciryl Gane look a little slower? Now with that, but again, because he is 38 and he will be 39 next month, that, maybe it kind of cancels, that former speed advantage out. The other thing in which I'm interested, when you look at how Alex Pereira fights, he's an elite level kickboxer, right? He, has bigger credentials than Ciryl Gane. I mean, as a former Glory kickboxing champ, he has what I think one of his most impressive weapons is that low calf kick. There's no tell on that. You don't know, you can't read it. And for somebody like Ciryl Gane, does he come out and he just works the calf a little bit? That can be a problem. Or does he come out more aggressively like he did against Magomed Ankalaev, where he doesn't let somebody like Ciryl Gane, bounce in and out, and he pushes the pace and he, tries to catch him early. I'm curious on that. Now, you mentioned Ciryl Gane's not going to wrestle. I don't think he will either. But it is interesting. He is the guy with the bigger frame, and how will that look? Even though he's not that great of a wrestler, and Alex Pereira has good takedown defense, he hasn't fought somebody as big as Ciryl Gane, not even close. So this is why this fight's so interesting. I don't know what's going to happen, and as of yesterday, I was thinking it's going to be Ciryl Gane is going to stay safe. He might be a little quick on his feet. I think Alex Pereira is going to catch him. Give me Alex Pereira by third round knockout. And, even though Gane's the bigger fighter, he doesn't knock people out. I mean, he has a 69.2% finish rate, which for heavyweight is not that good. He fights a lot of decisions. Just by contrast, Alex Pereira has an 84.6% finish rate. How do you think the fight will break down? Or what do you think Alex Pereira's approach will be? Do you think he's going to work the calves early, be a little more methodical, or do you think he's going to come out full beast mode and look to be pretty aggressive?
I think he's going to be a lot more methodical in this fight, because when you're fighting a wrestler and you put him on the back foot, it makes him hard for them to take him down, to take you down. So I think he's fighting more of a kickboxer, and I think he's going to be a lot more careful. But I think he definitely has a striking advantage still, because he's one of the best strikers in the entire world.
Yeah, and good take in your assessment aligns with your outcome, right? If he's going to be a little more methodical, he's going to be less likely to catch him early, and therefore, why you mentioned the decision. Before that, we have number 3 Sean O'Malley versus number 6 Aiemann Zahabi. Oops, let me just click out of this. I clicked in the wrong place. I'm going to try to get the odds real quickly. Sean O'Malley is a minus 395 favorite. Zahabi is a plus 310 underdog. And this is one of the fights with which I had a problem, because even though on the rankings 3 versus 6 makes sense, Sean O'Malley, I mean, let me just see. He's, how old is he? He's like 31. I don't think I have 8. Oh yeah, he's 31. Zahabi is 38. I mean, I think this is set up for a masterclass from Sean O'Malley. And one of the problems, if this would have been, would you have been more hyped if this fight was against like Umar Nurmagomedov or Corey Sandhagen, and it's like a close fight where you don't know what the outcome's going to be? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a more interesting fight, mainly because those guys have bigger names than Aiemann Zahabi. But I'm sure this fight is going to be really entertaining. I think Sean's going to just piece him up for 3 rounds, and then I'm going to
think he's going to put him out?
No, I don't
Sean
think he's going to knock him out. Yeah.
Yeah, this is, again, it's appropriate on paper, just not, and it could be entertaining. I think Sean O'Malley's going to style on him. He's going to be a lot faster. And you look at a couple of Zahabi's recent wins, even though he is on a good win streak, and even though you can say, he's earned the right to fight up in the rankings, has Sean O'Malley demonstrated that he deserves to fight down in the rankings this far, or against somebody that's, this old, considering that Zahabi, even though he's been winning, hasn't looked great. It's impressive what he's doing. So I'm a little bothered with this fight on the card. And I think Sean O'Malley's going to style on him. I don't think this one's going to be close. It could get entertaining. I think Sean O'Malley will eventually finish him. I think it'll be an accumulation of damage. Give me Sean O'Malley by 3rd round TKO. And what's interesting, let me just look at the records. O'Malley, he's 19-3. Zahabi, oh wow, I didn't realize he's 14-2. Okay. What's interesting, if you look at their finishing rate, Sean O'Malley has a 68.4% finish rate. That's slightly under Ciryl Gane, who's a heavyweight. So when you talk about going back to the danger that's going to be coming back at Alex Pereira, Ciryl Gane is not one of those heavy hitters. Also because, like you said, he likes to play it safe and bounce around on the outside. Yeah. But enough of that fight. We already talked about it. Let's go into, this is the fight in which you're most interested. It's Josh Hokit versus Derrick Lewis. Hokit, a minus 345 favorite. Lewis, a plus 275 underdog. Milo, break this fight down and tell me why you like this fight so much.
I like this fight because Derrick Lewis is a really heavy hitter, and Josh Hokit's a lot smaller, but he's definitely the favorite in this fight because he's a lot younger, and he's a really high-level wrestler. But Derrick's a lot bigger, so I think it'll make it pretty hard to use his wrestling because weight makes a lot of a difference in that. But I'm going to go with Josh Hokit by second round submission.
So you don't think Hokit is going to try to take him down? He's not going to leverage his wrestling advantage.
No. I think he will, but I think it won't be easy for him, especially off the start when Derrick isn't tired. But I think Derrick could definitely knock him out if he connects with his punches because he's probably top 2 hardest hitters in the UFC.
Yeah, you're right, and he's one of the top, most powerful hitters ever, right? It's Francis Ngannou, it's Derrick Lewis, and there may be a couple other guys, near that, but those are probably the top 2. And when you look at it, he is the knockout leader. He has more knockouts in UFC history than any other fighter. I believe out of his 29 wins, 25 are by knockout or 24 or something like that. Let me just take a look at it. He has an 86.2% finish rate, and who has a higher finish rate? Josh Hokit, 88.9%. He is 9-0. He is undefeated. He has not lost yet. He is ranked number 5. Derrick Lewis is number 9. In the age discrepancy, you mentioned that Josh Hokit is 28. Derrick Lewis is 41 years old. Josh Hokit is highly aggressive. He throws caution to the wind. We saw that in the Curtis Blades fight. He fought a much bigger guy in Curtis Blades. He moved forward. He took some shots, and he was able to keep going, and he dug deep, and it was one of the most amazing performances I've ever seen, probably the most amazing performance I've ever seen at heavyweight. And the interesting thing is, Derrick Lewis is not going to have anything for him on the speed front. Now, Josh Hokit is a very good athlete, right? Or he's an exceptional athlete, former wrestler, former football player. And he's just going to have an advantage everywhere except the power, except the size, except the reach.
Josh Hokit is 6'1", 233 pounds, and a 73-inch reach. And Derrick Lewis is he's 6'3", 265 pounds with a 79-inch reach. So,
and that is significant.
30-pound difference.
That weight difference is significant when you pair it with his intrinsic punching power, right? This is somebody that naturally hits hard, and he's that going to be that much bigger than the guy he's hitting. He puts big guys out right away. He catches Hokit once, he can put him out. The question is, and he has the longer reach. It wasn't where he was going against, Waldo Cortez Acosta, where, he's just getting peppered on the outside and can't really get in there. He's going to have the reach. So this is where I'm wondering if Josh Hokit just tries to shoot a double leg right away, and then at least tries to wear him down before trying to do something spectacular, because you do have that $1 million on the line for the best finish or something like that, I believe. So I think people are incentivized not to play it safe. And Derrick Lewis, if he connects once, it could end this. Do you think Lewis needs to land cleanly, though? Or,
no.
Wow, okay.
No, he can knock him out with probably a jab. Like a hard jab will knock anybody out.
Well, yeah, and Josh Hokit in his interview basically said, I need not to get hit by Derrick Lewis, which indicates that's a different fight style than what we saw. But that fight style that we saw was what made him a fan favorite. I think he's going to get it done. I think he's going to, be too quick. I think he's going to get in. I think somebody's getting knocked out. I think Josh Hokit will win by TKO in the first round. I do think Derrick Lewis does have a legitimate shot at this, though. It's just going to be how he catches him when he comes in. Is he preparing for him to, shoot a double leg, or is he preparing for him to come in swinging? That's going to, his counter to that is going to be dependent on what he thinks is going to be coming at him. What do you think of Josh Hokit's persona?
I think it's definitely a cringy, but I think I bet you it's making him a lot of money.
See, and that's where
he's pretty well known in the UFC
yeah,
for not even being ranked. Is he not ranked?
Yeah, well, he's ranked. Yeah, well, he got ranked in his last fight. Yeah, you're right. He got a little bit of hype. But you're right. He got a little bit of hype in his persona, and I have a little bit of a different take. I agree with part of what you're saying, but part of it I don't. I do believe his persona got him the fight against Curtis Blades, right? But I think after that fight, if he would just act normal, he'd become a fan favorite. He'd become one of the biggest stars in the UFC. Sure. And it's tricky because, okay, so he does this little rhyme thing. Okay, make that part of your brand, keep that part of your brand, right? Don't always go into character, because when you act, authenticity sells more than a lack of authenticity when you're talking about branding. And when if you're trying to get sponsorships from big brands, who'd want to sponsor this guy, right? From more of the mainstream brands. So I think, yes, it did get him a little bit of attention, but, I would dial it back down if you really want to make money, because I think it's kind of an anachronistic approach to promotion that you have to be a heel, good versus bad or stuff like that. So I do agree with you. I think that got it. He made enough noise. It got him to fight. But yeah, this is going to be interesting. It is a big spotlight for him. And before that, we have, I think, one of the best prospects. He's not even a prospect anymore. He's just one of the best fighters in the world, because he is ranked number 9, Mauricio Ruffy, who is 29 years old. He is 13-2, fighting Michael Chandler, who should not be on this card because he is 40 years old. He is 23-10, even though he is exciting. And this is the problem. He is a plus 500 underdog. Ruffy is a minus 700 favorite. I think this is a mismatch of epic proportions. But hey, styles make fights. So Milo, give me your take.
I think this fight's gonna be a lot closer than you think, because Mauricio Ruffy got submitted by Benoit Saint Denis a few fights ago. So and Michael Chandler's wrestling is super high level. I'm arguably better than Benoit Saint Denis, but he is 40, so that's definitely going to be a factor. And I think if this fight goes to decision, Michael Chandler will definitely win, but or not definitely, but I think he has a good chance to win. But I'm just going to take the underdog and go Michael Chandler by decision. Yeah.
Mic drop. Talk about the mic drop there. Okay, if you do that, you will be a genius. If that doesn't happen, there's another word for that, and it's not genius. But let's see what happens. See, now this one, out of all the fights, I think this is my lock of the night. I think Ruffy, what demonstrate how good Ruffy is to me was how he handled Fiziev. And the reason why I say Fiziev in particular is because Fiziev was considered probably the best boxer, best striker in the division, maybe Max Holloway. And he put on a master class against, such an elite level striker. He just showed there are levels that I didn't even know there were levels to this. I didn't realize how good Ruffy was on the feet until that. With that said, Michael Chandler, yeah, you're right. The wrestling can present a problem. And we don't know if Ruffy's bad at grappling or not a good defensive wrestler, because Benoit Saint Denis is a beast in that first round. And I think Benoit Saint Denis is better than a lot of people give credit. So I don't see that as an aberration. I just saw, and I actually called that correctly during our breakdown. I said, Benoit Saint Denis, he's going to come in, he's probably going to shoot a double leg. He's going to want to get this to the ground. He's going to control him. He'll use that early aggression and he'll put him out. And that's exactly what happened. When you look at Ruffy, though, I mean, his finish rate, 92.3%, which is insane. He's a lightweight. And when we look at Chandler, 78.3%. Chandler is one of the most exciting fighters in the world. And what's interesting about this is if this fight was just 3 years ago, maybe even 2 years ago, I might have a different take on this, because Chandler is an elite level athlete. He is an exceptional fighter, and he has a more well-rounded game. I think the striking is going to be so different, and the speed advantage due to the age is going to be next level, which is not going to allow Michael Chandler to really be able to do anything. I just don't think he's going to. I think when you watch this fight, watch for this to happen. He's going to be not only a step slower, he's going to be a little confused. I think he's not going to be able to time his shots at all. So give me Mauricio Ruffy by first round brutal highlight KO. And if I'm correct, I'm not a genius. And if I'm wrong, I'm not a genius either. So only you have the chance at eternal glory by calling this. All right, before this, we got Bo Nickal versus Kyle Daukaus. It's the only unranked fight on the card with two unranked fighters. It's actually a pretty interesting matchup. Let me just check the odds real quick. Oh, it actually, Nickal is a minus 355. Daukaus is plus 280. I thought it'd be a little bit closer. Milo, break this fight down for me.
Bo Nickal, probably the highest level wrestler in the UFC. And
no doubt.
Kyle Daukaus, he has 12 wins by submission, super high level grappler, and I think this fight's actually not going to end up on the ground because when you have two high level grapplers, it tends to just be a striking fight. But I'm gonna take Bo Nickal by decision.
Yeah, and it may well stay on the feet because, Bo Nickal, I think, we saw him do that against Paul Craig, right? Paul Craig is a grappler, and he didn't go onto the ground, didn't want to go to the ground with him. I don't know if it was that he didn't want to go to the ground or he just chose, to work on his stand up. And what's interesting because Bo Nickal, remember, he's still really new to the sport. Let me just grab his record. He's only 8-1. He's, like you said, he is the elite of the elite when it comes to wrestling. I mean, he's a three-time NCAA champ. I believe he beat Josh Hokit. I heard that once. I got it like in college.
I saw.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
That's insane. And now Hokit's at heavyweight, which is just insane. Yeah. But it just shows Bo Nickal is levels above everybody. Now, with Kyle Daukaus, he's looked really good in his return. I mean, he's 2-0 since he's come back. He's won a few fights before that on the regional scene. He just looks like a much better fighter. He doesn't have the best chin though. His striking is okay. So it would be interesting to see him strike with Bo Nickal. If it gets on the ground, he does have a crazy good submission game. But Bo Nickal, I think the wrestling will neutralize that. I think, given, that it's 2026, that you got to be such an elite, jiu-jitsu practitioner to really, catch somebody, particularly somebody who's a wrestler in a sub. I don't think that's going to happen. Both guys like to finish. Bo Nickal, 87.5% finish rate. Kyle Daukaus, 82.4%. I think this is a fun matchup. I do think, both guys can be dangerous at times, but I actually think it's going to take place on the ground a lot. And I think Bo Nickal's wrestling will be smothering. And do you think Bo Nickal, in terms of ego, will want to show, hey, I can take a grappler down and just submit him at his own game?
Yeah, possibly. But he didn't do that with Paul Craig, so.
That's true, yeah.
I wonder if he would do it this time. Or maybe.
Yeah,
it's at the White House. A lot more at the line if you lose. On the line if you lose, like, in front of the entire country.
That's true. He's going to want the spectacular finish, and then you get the $1 million for the finish. You're right. He's probably So I think you're 100% right now that I'm rethinking that. I think if it goes to the ground, Bo Nickal will have a significant advantage in terms of controlling it. But I think it will stay on the feet because I think he will be going for that bonus. I think he will be wanting to make a statement. And yeah, I'm going to change my pick. I was going to go with submission, but give me Bo Nickal by second round knockout. What do you think of his? He's become quite unpopular. What are your thoughts of him? What do you think? What are your thoughts about that?
I think it's kind of the UFC's fault a little bit because the matches he got made I don't know. He was supposed to be they gave him too much competition too fast. I feel like I think he should have taken more time in between fights and they should have built him up longer.
Yeah, and I think the problem is they put him on that main card of UFC 300, and nobody wanted him on the main card. So you made
Yeah.
people start to just like build animosity. And this is the irony of it is like the UFC's like, we're going to try to build somebody. And by their very actions of what they think is trying to build somebody, actually made people like him less. And then when he started talking smack on Chimaev and all these other people that they couldn't grapple or wrestle, and it's like, dude, then you just lose to De Ridder. I think you combine those two, and yeah, he's not no longer he's not a fan favorite, but he is very good, and yeah, I think he's going to get it done. And you said it's going to go decision, or I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the opener on the card, this is an incredible opener. I mean, it is Diego Lopes versus Steve Garcia. This is one of the fights I don't think anybody saw coming, and it is a great one because Steve Garcia is on this incredible win streak. Diego Lopes, one of the best fighters in the world. He's ranked number 2. Garcia is number 5. Let me get the odds. Lopes is only a minus 166 favorite, whereas Garcia is a plus 140 underdog. Milo, break this fight down for me.
Both guys are very aggressive. I could definitely see this fight being fight of the night. Especially because I feel like smaller people are able to like take more punches, and it can just like look like a Don Fry. Isn't that guy's name? Don Fry.
Yeah, that one dude.
It can like look like that a lot easier.
Where they just
beat each other to
they
death.
just.
But I'm gonna go Diego Lopes by second round knockout.
Okay, yeah, and it's funny because that Don Fry reference. I mean, it's one of the craziest fights in history across all disciplines. I've never seen anything like that since.
Yeah.
But this fight could be wild. I mean, look, Diego Lopes, he comes out, he has fast hands, he has good power, but he is an elite level jiu-jitsu practitioner. He has good wrestling. He is good everywhere. His only losses in the UFC, 2 against Alexander Volkanovski, best featherweight of all time, and a very close loss to Mosvar, who is still undefeated at this point. He has beat Jean Silva. He has some other good wins, and he is dangerous everywhere, and he can take a punch because he is going to need to. Steve Garcia hits hard. When you look at the stats and you see a lot of TKOs, Garcia has a lot of knockouts. Like, he just one shot, he puts you out. He is on this crazy win streak. Now, the difference is he hasn't fought the same level of competition that Lopes has fought, right?
Yeah.
Lopes has fought the elite of the elite, some of the best fighters of all time. Steve Garcia has fought good fighters. And this is going to be a step up. That's going to be a bit much. He's also 34. Lopes is 31. Let me just take a quick look at their overall records. Diego Lopes is 27-8. Steve Garcia is 19-5. Steve Garcia, I mentioned his power. He's also a very clean striker, so he doesn't open up a lot. He throws, a really straight left, really straight jab. Has a strong, powerful right hook. He's, this dude can put somebody out, but I don't think that's going to happen. Even though it is possible in this fight, give me Diego Lopes by second round submission. That is it. This fight event is going to be, it is, pun intended, it is going to be fireworks. It is going to be absolutely intriguing on a multitude of different levels. Milo, any last words?
Drop the mic.
We're out.